Myth number 1. Sloths are lazy. Their very name is synonymous with one of the 7 deadly sins. Their slow, deliberate movements are seen as the ultimate expression of laziness in the animal kingdom. Sloths are not lazy. They are masters of energy conservation. Their slowness is a highly successful survival strategy, not a character flaw. Sloths subsist on a diet of leaves, which are low in calories and difficult to digest. A single meal can take up to a month to process. To survive on such limited fuel, they have evolved one of the lowest metabolic rates of any non-hibernating mammal and move as little as possible. Despite their reputation, wild sloths sleep only 8 to 10 hours a day, which is less than a howler monkey and significantly less than a koala. The myth dates back to the 18th century, when European naturalists first described them. Georges-Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, famously labeled them the lowest form of existence, suggesting that one more defect would have made their survival impossible. This early misinterpretation of a brilliant evolutionary adaptation as a moral failing has stuck with the sloth ever since.
Myth number 2. Dolphins' smiles mean they're happy. With their perpetual, joyful-looking grins, dolphins must be among the happiest creatures in the sea. A dolphin's smile is not an expression of happiness or contentment. It is a fixed feature of their anatomy, simply the physical shape of their jaw. Dolphins appear to be smiling even when they are sick, stressed, or dead. This is a classic case of anthropomorphism, where humans project their own emotional signals onto an animal. This misinterpretation of anatomy as emotion is actively and knowingly exploited by the multi-billion-dollar captive dolphin entertainment industry. The smile is used to convince tourists that the animals enjoy performing and interacting with humans, masking the cruelty of their confinement. In reality, life in a small concrete tank is incredibly stressful for a wide-ranging, intelligent marine mammal. This stress can manifest in disturbing behaviors, such as floating lifelessly, swimming in repetitive circles, and even gnawing on the concrete walls of their enclosures.
Myth number 3. Owls are the wisest birds. From the companion of a Greek goddess to the sagely professor in cartoons, the owl is the universal symbol of wisdom. While owls are formidable and highly effective predators, their intelligence is not considered exceptional when compared to other birds, such as crows, ravens, and parrots. Owl brains, though relatively large for their body size, are heavily specialized for sensory processing. A significant portion of their brain is dedicated to their incredibly powerful vision and hearing, which are necessary for hunting in low-light conditions. This leaves less capacity for the type of complex reasoning and problem-solving that is associated with the human concept of wisdom. Their large, forward-facing eyes and still posture give them a thoughtful and contemplative appearance, but their intelligence is a finely tuned tool for nocturnal predation, not for solving abstract puzzles. The myth of the wise owl dates back to ancient Greece, where the little owl was the symbol of Athena, the goddess of wisdom. It is believed this association arose because the owl's ability to see in the dark was seen as a metaphor for insight and knowledge. This ancient symbolism has proven remarkably durable, persisting in literature and popular culture to this day.
Myth number 4. Dogs see in black and white. Our vibrant, colorful world is lost on our canine companions, who experience life only in shades of gray. This is an outdated belief that has been thoroughly debunked. Dogs do see in color, just not in the same way that humans do. Human eyes have 3 types of color-detecting cone cells, making us trichromatic. Dogs, on the other hand, have only 2 types of cones, making them dichromatic. Their vision is primarily in shades of yellow, blue, and gray. They are effectively red-green colorblind, meaning they cannot distinguish between these 2 colors. This myth was once a commonly held belief even among veterinarians. Understanding their actual visual spectrum has practical implications. For example, a bright red ball thrown on a green lawn might be very difficult for a dog to see, as both colors may appear as a brownish gray.
Myth number 5. Snakes are deaf. Snake charmers rely on the movement of their flute, not the music, because snakes like ears and are completely deaf. While it is true that snakes do not have external ears or eardrums like humans do, they are not deaf. They possess fully functional inner ear structures that allow them to hear low-frequency airborne sounds. More significantly, they are exquisitely sensitive to vibrations. They hear by detecting vibrations from the ground, which travel through their jawbone and are transmitted to the inner ear. This allows them to sense the approach of predators or prey. The myth is a direct result of their lack of visible ears. The classic snake charmer performance does indeed rely on visual cues. The cobra rises and sways not in response to the music, but to the threatening movement of the flute, which it perceives as a potential predator.
Myth number 6. Koalas are bears. They are often referred to as koala bears due to their fluffy ears and bear-like nose. Koalas are not bears in any sense. They are marsupials. Marsupials are a distinct group of mammals whose young are born in a very immature state and complete their development inside a maternal pouch. This places koalas in the same category as kangaroos, wallabies, and opossums, and very distant from true bears like grizzlies or pandas. The misnomer koala bear was likely coined by early English-speaking settlers in Australia who named the animal based on its superficial resemblance to a small bear. It is a simple but persistent case of a misleading name becoming common usage.
Myth number 7. Guinea pigs are pigs from Guinea. Their name seems straightforward. They must be a type of pig that originated in the African nation of Guinea. They are neither. Guinea pigs are rodents, members of the cavy family, and their native habitat is the Andes Mountains of South America, where they were domesticated for food thousands of years ago. The pig part of their name may have come from their stout, pig-like build and the squealing sounds they make. The Guinea part is more of a historical puzzle. One theory is that they were transported to Europe via trade routes that passed through Guinea. Another suggests Guinea is a corruption of Guyana, a region in South America. A third possibility is that in 17th century England, Guinea was used as a general term for anything foreign or exotic.
Myth number 8. Electric eels are eels. With their long, serpentine bodies and powerful electric shock, they are clearly a type of eel. Despite their name and appearance, electric eels are not true eels. They belong to a group of fish known as knife fishes, order Gymnotiformes, and are more closely related to carp and catfish than to true eels like morays or congers. This is another classic example of a common name causing taxonomic confusion. The name was given based on a striking physical resemblance, but the scientific classification, based on evolutionary history and genetics, tells a different story. Myth number 9. Bulls are enraged by the color red. A matador's red cape is a surefire way to provoke a bull's fury. Bulls, like all other cattle, are red-green colorblind. They are dichromats, meaning their eyes lack the red cone receptors that humans possess. To a bull, a bright red cape appears as a dull, yellowish-gray color. It is not the color of the cape that triggers the charge, but rather its fluttering, threatening motion. Any color of cape, if waved in the same manner, would provoke a similar response. This myth is a direct product of the tradition and spectacle of bullfighting. The red cape, or muleta, is used in the final stage of the fight for its dramatic effect against the sand of the arena and, more grimly, to help mask the blood of the bull. Myth number 10. Porcupines can shoot their quills. When threatened, a porcupine can launch a volley of its sharp quills like arrows at an attacker. Porcupines are physically incapable of shooting their quills. The quills are modified hairs that are very loosely attached to the porcupine's skin. When the animal feels threatened, it raises its quills and may charge backward or swing its tail at the predator. On contact, the microscopic barbs on the tips of the quills cause them to instantly embed in the attacker's flesh, and they detach easily from the porcupine. The myth likely originated from observations of porcupines shaking their bodies, which can cause loose quills to fall out and fly a short distance, creating the illusion that they were actively fired.
Myth number 11. Ostriches bury their heads in the sand when scared. When faced with danger, an ostrich foolishly buries its head in the sand, believing that if it cannot see the threat cannot see it. This is one of the most iconic but baseless animal myths. An ostrich's primary defenses are its formidable legs, which can deliver a kick powerful enough to kill a lion, and its impressive speed, which can reach up to 43 miles per hour or 70 kilometers per hour. The behavior that was misinterpreted is related to nesting. Ostriches dig shallow holes in the sand to serve as nests for their enormous eggs. Several times a day, the parent ostrich uses its beak to turn the eggs, an action that from a distance can look like it is burying its head. Additionally, when trying to hide from a predator, an ostrich may lie flat on the ground with its long neck outstretched, attempting to blend in with the terrain.
Myth number 12. Chameleons change color for camouflage. Chameleons are the ultimate masters of disguise, able to change their skin color to perfectly match any background they are placed against. While camouflage is one of the functions of a chameleon's color-changing ability, it is not the primary reason it evolved. The most dramatic and rapid color shifts are used for social signaling. Chameleons change their color to communicate their mood, such as fear or aggression, to defend their territory from rivals, and to signal their readiness to mate. Their skin color is also influenced by environmental factors, like temperature and the intensity of ambient light. The idea of perfect camouflage is a simple and appealing explanation for a complex biological process. However, the reality reveals that color is a sophisticated language used for communication, which is arguably even more fascinating.
Myth number 13. All bees can only sting once and then die. Any bee that stings you is making the ultimate sacrifice for its hive. This is only true for honeybees, and specifically when they sting a thick-skinned mammal like a human. A worker honeybee's stinger is barbed. When it penetrates skin, the barbs anchor it so firmly that the bee cannot pull it out. As the bee flies away, the stinger is ripped from its abdomen, causing a fatal injury. However, most other bee species, including bumblebees and carpenter bees, have smooth stingers and can sting multiple times without harming themselves. The same is true for wasps and hornets. Even the queen honeybee has a smooth stinger, though she rarely uses it on anything other than rival queens. The myth is a classic case of generalization. Because our most frequent and memorable interaction with a stinging bee is with a honeybee, its unique, self-sacrificial act has been incorrectly applied to all of its relatives.
Myth number 14. Camels store water in their humps. A camel's hump is a biological canteen, a large, fleshy water tank that allows it to survive for long periods in the desert. A camel's hump does not store water, it stores fat. This large deposit of adipose tissue serves as a vital energy reserve, which can be metabolized when food is scarce. This is just as crucial for survival in the desert as water conservation. Camels have other incredible adaptations for staying hydrated. They produce very dry feces and highly concentrated urine to minimize water loss. And when they do find an oasis, they can drink up to 40 gallons of water in one sitting. The myth is a logical but incorrect assumption based on the camel's desert habitat. The reality showcases a different but equally impressive biological solution to the challenges of arid environments.
Myth number 15. Turtles can come out of their shells. Like a snail retreating into its shell, A turtle can leave its protective home behind if it chooses. A turtle's shell is not an external house. It is an integral part of its skeleton. The carapace, or top shell, and plastron, or bottom shell, are made of bone and are fused to the turtle's spine and rib cage. A turtle can no more leave its shell than a human can step out of their own skeleton. This myth is heavily perpetuated by cartoons and children's stories, where turtles are frequently depicted popping in and out of their shells for comedic effect. This visual shorthand, while charming, completely misrepresents the animal's anatomy. Myth number 16. An octopus has 8 legs. It is common knowledge that an octopus has 8 limbs, which are interchangeably called legs or tentacles. The truth is more nuanced and fascinating. A 2008 study of octopus behavior revealed that they functionally have 6 arms and 2 legs. They use their 2 rearmost limbs primarily for locomotion, such as walking along the seafloor and pushing off rocks. The other 6 limbs are used as arms for tasks like feeding, exploring, and manipulating objects. This is a case where science has refined a long-held fact by looking at how the limbs are used, function, rather than just their appearance, form. It highlights that even simple counting can miss the biological complexity of an animal. Myth number 17. Earthworms have multiple hearts. Though simple creatures, earthworms are famously equipped with 5 or even 10 hearts to pump their blood. This is a myth born of semantic simplification. Earthworms do not have true, chambered hearts like vertebrates do. Instead, they have 5 pairs of muscular blood vessels called aortic arches that wrap around their esophagus. These arches contract in a rhythmic fashion to pump blood through the worm's closed circulatory system. They perform the function of a heart, but they are not anatomically hearts. The myth arises from the common practice in biology education of using a familiar term, heart, to describe the function of the aortic arches, which can lead to a literal misunderstanding of the worm's anatomy.
Myth number 18. Touching a baby bird will make its mother reject it. If you find a baby bird that has fallen from its nest and touch it, your human scent will cause the mother to abandon it forever. This is one of the most well-known pieces of animal folklore, and it is false. Most bird species have a very poorly developed sense of smell and would be unable to detect a human scent on their young. With a few exceptions like vultures, birds rely on sight and sound, not smell. While the premise of the myth is wrong, the advice it encourages, to leave baby birds alone, is absolutely correct. The real danger is not your scent, but your presence. Lingering near a nest can stress the parent birds and, more importantly, attract the attention of predators. This is a rare example of a myth having a net positive effect. It likely originated as a cautionary tale to prevent well-meaning people from interfering with wildlife, and in that, it has been largely successful.
Myth number 19. Frogs and toads can give you warts. The bumpy, lumpy skin of a toad is contagious, and touching one will cause warts to sprout on your hands. You cannot get warts from touching a frog or a toad. Warts on humans are caused by various strains of the human papillomavirus, HPV, a virus that is specific to humans and cannot be transmitted from amphibians. The bumps on a toad's skin are not warts, they are glands. Some of these, particularly the large parotoid glands behind the eyes, can secrete toxins as a defense mechanism. While these secretions can irritate human skin, they do not cause warts. The myth is a classic case of mistaken identity based on appearance. The bumps on a toad's skin simply look like warts, which led to the false conclusion that they were the cause.
Myth number 20. Mice have a special love for cheese. The best, most irresistible bait to catch a mouse is a piece of cheese. While a hungry mouse will eat cheese if it is available, it is far from their favorite food. Scientific studies and observations show that mice have a strong preference for foods that are high in sugar, such as fruit, brains, and even sweets like peanut butter or chocolate. In fact, the strong odor of some cheeses can actually be off-putting to a mouse's sensitive nose. This myth likely dates back to medieval times, before refrigeration. In household larders, meats were often hung and grains were stored in bins, but large wheels of cheese were left out on shelves. This made cheese one of the most accessible food sources for mice. While they were likely eating grains as well, the telltale teeth marks left in a block of cheese were far more obvious, leading people to associate mice specifically with cheese.
Myth number 21. Wolves howl at the moon. The iconic, haunting image of a wolf, head tilted back, howling at a full moon, is a fundamental part of its nature. Wolves do not howl at the moon. There is no scientific evidence linking their howling behavior to any phase of the moon. This myth is a simple case of confusing correlation with causation. Wolves are nocturnal animals, so they are naturally more active at night when the moon happens to be out. They point their snouts toward the sky when they howl because it helps the sound travel a greater distance. Howling is a complex and vital form of communication for wolves, used to assemble the pack, warn rival packs away from their territory, and coordinate hunting strategies. The image is powerful and romantic, evoking a sense of wildness and mystery, which has made it an enduring part of our folklore, literature, and movies, despite having no basis in scientific fact.